Hey guys, Jesse here, and I'm finally going to be taking a look at my Master Grade Double Zeta Ver. Now, this review has been a long time coming, as some of you might know. I actually got this kit when it came out in like 2017 and didn't build it until about 2018. So, yeah, this is like a 7-year long build. I have had it snap built sitting on my shelf for a long time, but finally decided to get it done here as I was getting back into Gunpla. Now, I'm not usually the self deprecating kind, but I will preface this review by saying it might not be the best just because the build is obviously not very fresh in my mind. But the two things I recall about this build specifically are that it's very different. It's unlike any master grade out there. It does have an inner frame, but it's a very weird inner frame, and that's all to do with the transformation. And it's a very complex inner frame. I don't want to use the word complicated because that kind of gives off the idea that it's a difficult build. It's not hard. It's not a difficult build whatsoever. If you think this looks awesome, but you're kind of scared by what other people are saying about it, like it takes a long time, it's complicated, there's just so many moving parts, do not be afraid. Go ahead and get it. You can do it. Just pay close attention to the parts you cut off when you're building it. You just gotta make sure they're kind of precise so everything slides in correctly. But speaking of the transformation, no, I'm not going to transform it. It is obviously painted, and I will destroy the paint if I do that. If you want to see the complete transformation, I highly recommend Jabman025's review. He goes through the entire process of transforming this thing. However, I will at least show you what the transformation looks like in the manual. I think it's cool that it can do it, and I think it's cool that you can even split it up into the individual pieces that are like in the anime, and it comes together and creates a whole G-Fortress with landing gear built in. But really, are you going to display it like this? No, you're going to put it in the Gundam form. If you really want to display this, you're going to have to buy two. And fortunately enough, this kit was popular enough to warrant Bandai to continue printing it. So despite being from 2017, it's still very easy to find this kit. And before I even get on with it, I'm going to highly recommend it. This is an incredible kit. It looks amazing. Verka design's always striking. I really debated whether or not I wanted to weather this thing, and I'm really glad I did because it just makes the mobile suit look a lot bigger that way. I mean, it's already a really big kit. It's not an enormous size kit. There are definitely bigger kits than this. It's really bulky, so it gives off the sort of presence of a huge kit. But once again, it's actually not that big when you put it next to things like the new Gundam or something like the Hazel. I even think the Hazel is just bulkier and bigger than this, but the proportions and the sculpting on this is just great. Something I really like about Verka designs or Kotoki designs is that he doesn't put a whole ton of surface panel lining and details on these things. He kind of lets the shapes speak for themselves, and that is very true for this Double Zeta Gundam, which is good because I think Double Zeta as a series is both loved and hated in many ways. Yeah, the first half of that series not great, but it does get good. I'm kind of taking the whole Starfield bro approach of, yeah, dude, it totally gets good after 60 hours. Double Zeta does get good after 20 episodes, but you got to sit through some rough 20 episodes. In any case, the Double Zeta Gundam is awesome, and this kit is awesome. So now what I've done with this kit is I really just weathered it. I just did some paint chipping and streaking on it. Not much else. No repaint of any kind. All the color you're seeing there is from the plastic, just with a matte top coat. I decided to go with Mr. Super Clear matte this time around instead of my good old TS80. And I'm probably going to stick with that just because it comes in a bigger can and I get the same results. So I don't really see any point of going back. Maybe for smaller kits or something, because I think TS80 kind of gives a smoother matte finish, but this is also really good. So And something else to say about this kit in terms of articulation stuff, I'll show a little bit of it, but this kit is kind of a brick. It's not a complete brick. Like, it has really good articulation, but first off, I think it just looks the best just floating there, looking all huge. But also, with its transformation and all its sort of fins and the shields there and his shoulders, everything that just kind of bumps into each other. And it is a pretty heavy kit, like proportionally, like the legs are really heavy compared to the joint up there, and the arms are kind of heavy compared to the joint up here. So it's kind of hard to get it in a very dynamic pose. And again, because of the transformation, it's hindered a bit. For example, on the shoulders, when it turns around, there's actually no like butterfly joint or anything in there. That's just a straight peg into the shoulder. So you can only really rotate that way and bring the arm up. You can't bring this forward or anything like that. And this whole midsection is, I don't want to say flimsy, but it's locked in via the front and the back to accommodate for this heavy backpack. And that backpack pulls the kit back. This kit can stand. It's been standing on my windowsill until I finished it. So for 7 years. So it can definitely stand on its own, but it's not going to get into some crazy standing pose on its own. I mean, you got to do some real balancing acts because this waist does not turn. It's got to lock in there for the transformation. So in many ways, the transformation hurts this kit, but in other ways, that's what actually makes it interesting. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here and talk about the accessories. Now, you don't get a whole ton with this kit. The Devil Zeta in itself is kind of just already accessorized. These arm shields double as like wings and stuff. It's got the missiles coming out the back there, which can close, which is really cool. And then, of course, it's got its hyper beam sabers up there. But it does come with some accessories. So first off, let's talk stickers real quick. It does come with some foil stickers here, mainly for the hyper double beam rifle thing camera. And then these actually go on some cameras on the leg, which is kind of weird, but it's for the transformation. Then you get eye stickers. I painted all of that. Pro tip, if you're going to paint your cameras, keep these stickers because they work really well as masking tape, which is why that one is floating there. I just masked off that camera when I went to top coat it. You get 2 core fighters. One's already in there, but I went ahead and painted and detailed up the other one. This canopy section should be clear, but I went ahead and painted it green. You do have a little bit of detail painting that you've got to do inside the thruster there. That should be red, which it is because I painted it. I'm not a big fan of these big clear landing gear parts. Clearly I painted and everything, but I do miss the old style where each individual wheel just plugged into the core fighter. But it's really cool that they give you 2. I'm actually not 100% sure if you need 2 for the transformation, but it doesn't matter. You get 2. These little fins and this fin are really loose. I went ahead and glued them in place because, again, I'm not planning to transform this thing, so I might as well keep those stationary. Get your little pilot figure of Judah here. Went ahead and painted him up. Judah gets a lot of hate because he's a bit of a goofball, but I like him, and you cannot deny that he has the best drip in Gundam history. I mean, not many people can rock the Thriller jacket, but I think Judah pulls it off. I think it's mainly because he color matched his shoes. You get some hand options, and they're kind of weird. Okay, so this kit has interchangeable fingers. On the kit that you saw spinning around, it has just its closed fist fingers, which are fine. But then you get like tightly closed molded hands. But these are significantly smaller than the hands on the kit, and it's mainly for the transformation. Once again, the arms swing up inside of themselves to reveal thrusters, and those big hands just don't fit in there, so you can put these hands on them. So there is some part swapping to be done for the transformation. This is the one thing. The weird thing about that is the arms are hidden anyways, so the only reason to put these hands in there is if you just want to be like mechanically accurate. You're not going to see these during the transfer or like after it's transformed. So again, this is purely just to be mechanically accurate, knowing that the hands are in there, because if you put these on just as the kit is right now, they just look way too small. They're not proportionally correct. Nice thing is they are nicely molded and they are, again, stationary. So keep these. Keep these for a different master grade or a kit bash of some sort. You get a trigger finger, only for the right hand, unfortunately. And it's for the hyper double beam rifle. And then you get two what appears to be splayed open hands. As you can see, I only weathered one of them because I don't plan to use both. But they have this huge peg in them because these are actually holding hands for the hyper beam sabers, which you'll see when I equip them up with it and do some poses. Yeah, if you want these to be open splayed hands, they're not exactly that expressive, but they are something, but you'll have to cut that enormous peg off. I mean, that's just unsightly if you're going to use that as like an action pose hand. But again, I'm probably going to use these for holding the beam sabers. The connection for the fingers are okay. The ones for the closed fists are pretty weak. I mean, they come off with just a little touch, mainly because for whatever reason, as you can see, this is one solid piece. The closed fist fingers are like two pieces, so there's less surface area for them to hold on to the kit, which is a little weird. Then you have the double hyper beam. What the hell is this thing actually called? It's just called the double beam rifle, and it is a beam rifle only a mother could love. I think this thing is absolutely hideous. I hate this thing. It is so ugly. It's just so blocky and goofy, and it's also a ship, which, again, this canopy is clear. I painted it green. It has a little person. I forget the name of the pilot, but they're in there piloting, and when he holds it, he has to hold it like this upside down. So this poor pilot here is just upside down, hurling all over themselves as the Gundam swings around this beam rifle. So I don't know. I don't like this thing. Again, I think it's ugly. I think the coolest thing is that the camera is enormous. But yeah, it's not my favorite thing. He can hold it just fine, and the trigger finger has a peg that just plugs into here like so. And it looks pretty good. And again, he can hold this thing just fine. And again, with the transformation, this thing just... this isn't supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be extended upwards like that. Yeah, the transformation, again, just... I'm glad they did it, but I wish they hadn't. You know? So I actually glued that hinge there so that part wouldn't flop around so much. And I tried gluing this handle in place. I'm probably going to try that again because I'm not going to transform this thing, so I might as well glue down a few things. In fact, I should mention that I did have to glue down some pieces on the crotch here, like these little blue vent things. They popped off way too much, and again, not transforming it, so didn't care too much about that. And finally, you get the beam chopsticks. I'm only showing you one here because I did something special with the other one, but in any case, yeah, these are perfect grade sized beam sabers. As you can see, they are about almost as tall as the kit. Funnily enough, I think these are still too short. There are times in the anime where this thing is like, I swear, double the size of the Gundam. But, you know, yeah, that's just animation discrepancy. But anyways, yeah, they plug onto the hyper beam sabers right here. No biggie, and then you can use one of the holding hands with its peg to hold it just like that. So, yep, and there's pegs on both sides, so really cool. However, I decided to try something a little different, and I painted one. As you can see, I got this idea from an old video from Gundam Planet where the very talented Danny Gunpla did his review on the full armor Double Zeta, the old kit. And I'll never forget that video. It really encouraged me to actually try painting. He basically said, become a man and start painting. But basically, it's all this is Mr. Hobby, fluorescent pink with just a touch of just white, just a generic white. And yeah, doesn't that look like so much better than that? Yeah, I think that came out awesome. Just fixing the exposure here so you can really see just how much better that beam saber looks. So I can't really get this guy into a dynamic enough pose to make this look super cool, but I put too much work into this beam saber. That wasn't that much work. I mean, to do this, you sand this clear part because paint is not going to stick to this slick clear plastic. You have to sand this with some sandpaper. Primed it white, airbrushed it fluorescent pink, and then airbrushed a little bit of white there. That's all I did. Very easy. But yeah, considering I did put some effort into this, I don't just want to throw this into a drawer. So he might just be holding it kind of, you know, straight on like that. Kind of boring, but again, I really like how this game came out. I keep touching it because it's nice and matte and smooth and pleasing. And that's it, guys. So what do you think? I think this kit, again, is amazing. I would recommend it to anyone who is interested in either double Zeta or master grades. It's an incredible build. I do recall it being very fun and interesting. Again, not fresh in my mind, but I think fresh enough that I do remember just having fun with it. Of course, it looks great. Even straight build, it looked impressive. I remember it sitting again on my windowsill thinking to myself, I might just panel line and decal this up and be done with it. Something I did forget to mention, the decals are amazing. They're always amazing on Kotoki kits. There are like a bajillion of them, and you have some real fun ones like the pinstriping on the arms, which, yeah, you can ask me how that went in the comments. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of my paint job. I'm going to give myself a bit of a pat on the back on this one. I feel really good about it. And now the only hurdle in my way is figuring out where the hell I'm going to put this stupid thing. It's so big and I want it to be viewed at the right angle. And frankly, I'm a little low on space. So maybe one of these days I'll reorganize my room and we'll figure it out. But in any case, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time.